Urgent, Vikings fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest your team news. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Vikings a trade fit for three-time All-Pro corner. It behooves the Minnesota Vikings to improve the secondary, and a potential trade partner with a proven cornerback could fit the bill. Bleacher Report's Mo Moton suggested that the Vikings trade for Miami Dolphins star cornerback Jalen Ramsey, who could be on the move this offseason. NFL Network's Ian Rapoport reported that the Dolphins and Ramsey shall mutually explore trade options before the 2025 season. While the Vikings would have to restructure contracts to make room for Ramsey, as Moton points out, it would give the Vikings a massive upgrade in the secondary. Last season, the three-time All-Pro had 2 interceptions, a sack, and 60 tackles, and the 30-year-old former Florida State star clearly has a lot left. Moton called the contract issue a minor inconvenience in an attempt to patch up their defense before training camp in July. Ramsey currently has a 3-year, $72.3 million contract with the Dolphins, but passing on him might be too costly. The Vikings ranked 28th in the league for passing yards allowed and 12th for passing touchdowns allowed in 2024. Things won't get easier for the Vikings in 2025 as the NFC North is loaded with quality quarterbacks, and the Vikings also have to face star quarterbacks Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Dak Prescott during the season. Why Vikings can't afford to miss Jalen Ramsey. The Vikings haven't put together a secondary yet that will hold up well against the gauntlet of quarterbacks ahead in 2025. Minnesota resigned Byron Murphy Jr., a versatile cornerback capable of lining up on the boundary and in the slot, Moton wrote. Defensive coordinator Brian Flores can mix and match him with Ramsey while the team figures out who can fill in the gaps alongside them. The Vikings haven't resigned Stephon Gilmore, leaving a glaring need in the secondary, Moton wrote. They signed a couple of placeholder veterans, Isaiah Rodgers and Jeff Okudah, to fill the void ahead of the draft. Last July, Mekhi Blackmon tore his ACL, and he only started in 3 games during his rookie campaign. Minnesota can also target a cornerback early in the draft, though in a winnow mode, Ramsey makes sense as a quick-fix option, Moton added. How a Jalen Ramsey trade would work in Moton's trade proposal: the Vikings acquire Ramsey for a 3rd-round pick in this year's draft. The Vikings hold the number 97 pick, and the Dolphins could use it toward various roster needs. Ramsey has familiarity with Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell, as the two crossed paths with the Los Angeles Rams between 2020 and 2021, which included the Rams' Super Bowl winning season. O'Connell served as the Rams' offensive coordinator before he took the Vikings job. Jalen Ramsey has significant playoff experience, a Tennessee native. Ramsey played at Florida State from 2013 to 2015 before the Jacksonville Jaguars took him with the number 5 pick in the 2016 draft. Ramsey turned into an instant force for the Jaguars amid his first Pro Bowl and All-Pro honors in 2017, which also resulted in a trip to the AFC Championship game. He made another 6 Pro Bowls during his time with the Jaguars through 2018, his stay with the Rams from 2019 to 2022, and his first season with the Dolphins in 2023. Overall, Ramsey has 534 tackles, 24 interceptions, 108 pass deflections, 6 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and 3 sacks in his career. Ramsey has played in 10 career playoff games amid all 3 of his stops, and he has 7 pass deflections, an interception, and 33 tackles in those games. If Ramsey joins the Vikings, there could be more with a team that won 14 games in 2024. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Vikes news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Vikings top candidate to acquire 3-time Pro Bowler round out O-line. The Minnesota Vikings have already invested heavily in revamping the interior of their offensive line, and more help could be coming after the NFL draft. As of now, Minnesota has Just 4 picks with which to add inexpensive rookie talent to its roster. The secondary is a priority, and several prominent mock drafts project that the Vikings will use the number 24 pick in the first round to add a cornerback. In that scenario, the potential Super Bowl contending franchise will become a primary candidate to look for another starting interior lineman via the trade market. The Pro Football Sports Network named Cleveland offensive guard Wyatt Teller as the Browns' most likely trade chip post-draft, as well as the Vikings among the most likely partners for Teller in any upcoming deal. The 30-year-old Wyatt Teller would likely have strong trade value, PFSN wrote on Friday, April 18th. The Seattle Seahawks and Vikings both ranked in the bottom 5 in pressures allowed from guards last year, and could immediately plug Teller in as a starter. Vikings general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah worked for Browns GM Andrew Berry before taking over in Minnesota. The two continue to have a good relationship and have made multiple trades with one another over the past 3 years. Vikings have spent big on 4 other starting spots. Along offensive line, Minnesota already signed guard Will Fries and center Ryan Kelly in free agency to bolster the offensive line. The two were teammates for the past 4 years with the Indianapolis Colts, during which Kelly earned his 4 career Pro Bowl selections. Fries inked a 5-year deal worth $88 million, while Kelly landed in Minnesota on a 2-year deal worth $18 million total. They will join one of the better offensive tackle duos in the NFL in Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill. The latter is on a 5-year $92.5 million contract, while Darrisaw is playing on a 4-year deal worth $104 million, giving up a meaningful draft asset, presumably with the intention of extending Teller, who is entering the final season of his $57 million contract. Is a sizable investment, given how much money the Vikings have already spent on the unit. That said, Minnesota has $17.3 million in available salary cap space as of Sunday, and protecting second-year quarterback J.J. McCarthy is likely to remain a top priority, as he has yet to take a snap in a regular season NFL game. Vikings could also select offensive guard in NFL draft. Aside from trade prospects, Minnesota could also look to add a guard via the draft, and do so for considerably less money. Mel Kiper Jr. predicted on April 15th in a 3-round joint mock draft with his ESPN colleague Field Yates that Minnesota needs another offensive lineman badly enough that the franchise will select guard Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State with the 24th pick. The Vikings knew they had to address the interior this offseason and went out and signed guard Will Fries and center Ryan Kelly, Kiper wrote. But Jackson would represent an upgrade over Blake Brandel at the other guard spot. Jackson has some really strong movement traits. Vikings linked to potential trade for ex-Commanders QB amid new rumor. The Minnesota Vikings are J.J. McCarthy's team for all intents and purposes. However, the Vikings are still exploring veteran options, and former Washington Commanders starter and Seattle Seahawks QB Sam Howell could be a fit. With former Vikings QB Sam Darnold's arrival in free agency with a 3-year, $105 million contract, among other moves at the position, Howell is on the trade block. ESPN's Kevin Seifert posted on X on April 19th that the situation is worth keeping an eye on. The Seahawks are open to trading Sam Howell and have received inquiries from teams interested in acquiring their backup quarterback, sources have told ESPN. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler and Brady Henderson wrote on April 18th. That interest comes on the heels of the Seahawks adding Drew Lock last week, resigning Geno Smith's former backup to potentially fill the same role behind new starter Sam Darnold. Jaron Hall is their 4th quarterback, giving Seattle a potential surplus at the position. Seattle acquired Howell in a trade last March with the Washington Commanders, giving up 3rd and 5th round selections in exchange for Howell and picks in the 4th and 6th rounds. The Seahawks beat out 3 other teams who were also negotiating with Washington, a source told ESPN at the time. Vikings trade pitch targets ex-Commanders. Seahawks QB Howell, 24, was the number 144 overall pick of the 2022 draft. He has completed 6 of his passes for 4,039 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 23 interceptions in his career. He posted a 24.01 line on 35, 7 completion in 14 attempts across 2 games off the bench in 2024. This Vikings trade proposal could be enough to pry Howell loose from the Seahawks. Vikings get Sam Howell, Seahawks get conditional 2026 7th-round pick. The Vikings own a league-low 4 selections in the 2025 draft, as of April 19, so this deal dips into their 2026 pool, which is also light and subject to prior trade conditions, with protection. Vikings QB room light on experienced Fowler and Henderson described Howell's showing as unremarkable, noting he struggled. Still, he would offer the Vikings more experience than they currently have in McCarthy or current QB2 Brett Rypien, who is 22 as a starter in 6 seasons. McCarthy missed his entire rookie season with a torn meniscus, and head coach Kevin O'Connell admitted the team is taking a risk by entrusting him as QB1. However, he also touted McCarthy's work during his otherwise lost rookie season. He was in meetings, he was taking great notes, I was meeting with him personally once a week, and he had great questions. O'Connell told Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer in comments published on April 14th, "We were trying to steal whatever time we could, not only myself and him, but our other coaches as well. But the best part about it, he was in the building, he was around his teammates. He had a front row seat to see the journey Sam went on. There was some value in that." O'Connell acknowledged there was frustration from McCarthy over not being on the field. The youngster has said all he wants is an opportunity to start. The Vikings, meanwhile, continue to be linked to veterans, including Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins. And now, Vikings fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Vikes. I'll be back any moment with more Vikings news. Skol, Vikings!